Hello, everybody. I'm Austin Speaker.
And I'm Kenny Stables.
And this is the A.K.47 Baseball Podcast. This is our last one ever, actually, unfortunately.
Since
I'm sorry. I'm graduating. Ken's still got another year left of college, but as far as college students go, this was a fun podcast to make, and this will be the last one. And it is jam-packed. Let's go right to it. News is coming out about Major League Baseball trying to incorporate a 20-second pitch clock. And me and Kenny will be the first ones and probably the loudest ones to tell you that better not happen.
No. Just please don't happen. Please, for the love of God, do not institute a pitch clock. Imagine professional chess players playing under a clock. Like you have an hour to complete a game. Honestly. Do you think they'd play to their best of their abilities?
No. They would not. And that's the thing is pitchers and catchers trying to have to come up with a sign in 20 seconds. First of all, let's go to the fans that they're trying to incorporate. The fast-paced, low attention span fans. Do baseball really need those fans? Do we need them in the baseball fan base? I don't think so, because catchers and pitchers purposely shaking each other off, that's part of the game.
Yeah.
Purposely taking forever and mixing the amounts of times you take in your sets when runners are on base, that's part of the game. That's part of the cat and mouse chess match part of the game. When I was pitching at Monroe, we had a set play where I would take a pitch, I would take a sign, and I would come set, and if there's with a runner at first base, and I would not throw the ball. I would stand there. I would purposely stand there. I wouldn't pick off. I wouldn't step off. I wouldn't do anything. I would stand there. I literally stood there for 55 seconds one time. I counted in a game. I stood there for 55 seconds without planning on throwing the ball because the runner might take a couple extra steps in the lead and I could pick off. The batter might tip his hand and show a bunt. We as pitchers and our defense did not tip our hand on bunt coverages or first and third coverages or anything like that. We just stood there and waited for the offense to tip their hand. And if they didn't, then the batter would just call time. The whole thing would start over again.
Is this pitch clock instituted with the runners on base as well? Is that what he said?
I hope not.
I
hope not. As far as I know, it's a general rule of you have 20 seconds to agree on a pitch, which I just disagree with 100%.
No, I completely agree with that. Even in a video game, I take forever sometimes to see if he's going to take that.
Right.
It's a universal facet of the game that works to your advantage if you use it well. The time is on your side if you use it well. And taking that out of the game is just mitigating the strength of strategy itself.
Right.
I mean,
and they say the elite athletes, the elite baseball players, they are the ones who slow the game down best. And it's not just the pitchers, the hitters too. Hitters who have the ability to keep 1 foot in the box and 1 foot out, not readjust the batting gloves and do all that, but I mean just take deep breaths and focus and slow the game down. Pitchers who have the ability to step off the rubber, step back on, just get in their own mental presence and slow the game down for themselves. Those are the people that perform at their best. Like you said, Ken, if you're rushing through it, you're not going to perform.
Well, and some people do work very fast, but most pitchers don't work very fast. I mean, not everyone's Wade Miley. And Wade Miley works super fast, and he's one of the worst pitchers in baseball.
Or Mark Burley. Mark Burley was a very good example of of those who work fast, but not
many people work super fast and are very effective. Like I said, Wade Miley comes to mind. He's I think he was second or third in the majors in times between pitches. But to get further into this, my one question I always ask, hypothetically, to the fans who want a pitch clock is, would you rather have your team win a 4-hour game or lose a 2-hour game?
I would rather win. I'd rather win an 18-hour game.
I'd rather win an 18-hour. Exactly. Whatever it takes to win, right? I mean, if Tanaka has to step off 4 times to get the good grip on his splitter, get the rosin bag going, let him do it.
Fine.
If he's going to make the pitch.
And that's the thing is, I go back to what Manfred said way back when, and I'm quoting him here, fans don't want to watch 15-plus inning games. You have your head in the clouds, just nowhere near reality if you think that that's the case. I live for the 15-plus inning games.
He is so far out of touch with reality. Go to college basketball. Go to that fan base. Do they regret the Syracuse-UConn 6 overtime game?
We've used that example a couple times.
Right, and I remember watching that game too. It was on. I turned it on at a second overtime, and it's 6 overtimes later. That was fun.
It's awesome.
Exactly.
You never know what's going to happen. When every pitch comes down to it, it's just so fun.
Exactly. I mean, every free throw mattered. The 5th overtime, everyone was gassed, but that's fun. Like, what basketball fans, oh man, 6 overtimes, that's boring. Oh, I just want the game to be over by the 4th quarter. It's like, who says that? What maniacal person? Like,
I can just shake my head at that.
no, I get it.
So the 20-second pitch clock just makes no sense. For some people are on it, but I only know of a few people that are relatively for it. Eric Burns is one of them, but he's just he's for a lot of things. He's also for the automated strike zone, but that's a whole other issue.
I like him as a guy. He's very passionate. He's funny.
Yeah,
but,
that's great and all, but there's an overwhelming majority of people who are not in favor of this.
Yeah, no,
and,
I agree.
And that brings me up to my next point. Speaking of extra inning ball games, I want to touch on this real quick. The rule where a runner starts in second base. Also didn't like that. Here's the thing: is it's so easy to bring them in. If that's all you're playing for is one run, it's really easy to bring them in, especially if you're going through the right part of the order. So if it's a 1-1 game going into the 10th inning, and there's a runner on second, sack bunt, sack fly, 2-1. Bottom of the inning, sack bunt, sack fly, 2-2. All of a sudden, it's the 14th inning, and now it's a 5-5 game. What changed?
I think
what's the purpose of that?
No, I get your reasoning. I think they want to put a runner on base to increase the probability of run scoring because the odds of a run scoring per inning.
But how does that stop the tie game in the game from?
Oh no, I agree with you. I'm just saying from their standpoint, they think putting a runner on second will increase offense in extra innings, and then therefore sort of set a higher baseline of. I don't know. It's just dumb.
A higher baseline.
I'm trying to
try to justify it for them.
No, I am trying to justify. I'm trying to see both sides. I'm trying to be objective.
I get that.
I don't think I can see it from their side. Like, because I'm trying to reason right now out loud.
Because I kind of thought the same way you did, where it's like, okay, maybe they did try to increase run probability, or whatever.
Yeah.
But then it's like. My immediate next thought was exactly what I just explained to you. So what's the difference if it's 1-1 in the 10th or 5-5 in the 15th?
There is none.
Exactly.
Run scores? I mean,
right.
They're probably going to be asleep
and
anyway.
who does the run go to? So if Betances is pitching for the Yankees in the bottom of the 9th at Fenway, and it's a 1-1 game, and he shuts the door down, okay? So now it's 1-1 going into the 10th, and the Yankees do exactly as I described, 2-2. Or make it 2-1 on a sack bunt and a sack fly. So now it's 2-1 going into the bottom of the 10th, and Aroldis Chapman comes in, okay? Mm-hmm. And that runner on second is just there, and he comes in to score. Whose run is that? Chapman got a sack bunt and a sack fly, but that runner scored. So whose run is that?
I haven't looked into that, but wouldn't it be the guy who made the last out the inning before he's the runner on second? Because then that kind of screws up the whole batting order.
Exactly.
Right?
So how does ERA come into play? And how does WHIP come into play?
So if Betances, this doesn't make sense when you're talking about counting stats. So if Betances gets the runner, we'll say Brock Holt, on the bottom of the 9th, and we go into extra innings. Brock Holt is the runner on second base. Does that count toward his total bases, or is this just phantom stats we're pulling out of our ass here?
Right. He doesn't get 2 extra total bases. It's not like he hit a double.
Right.
Or walk and steal a base. And me and you are also heavy DFS players. Yeah. So how does that turn?
I don't know how that would work.
Exactly.
Am I supposed to be happy? Like,
I'm not sure what's going on.
I just don't understand it. But no, the pitch clock in general is a way to appeal to casual fans. But if you save, let's say, 10 minutes off a game at best, which is a little far fetched. Let's say 5 minutes off a game, using the pitch clock. Are you really going to convert 6% of lost fans? At least no.
And that's the same thing for the runner on second base in extra innings.
People who think baseball is boring will still think baseball is boring, no matter how many clocks you use. Yep. No matter what. It's just the kind of people they are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No,
you're never going to change that.
That's absolutely right.
I hate how they appeal to the casual fan. I hate it.
Hopefully they move on from that, and hopefully these ideas get scrapped. But I hope. But we move on to what baseball could be very exciting. The first ever prolific two-way star.
Prolific, not just like Christian Bethancourt.
Babe Ruth was a good pitcher, but an amazing hitter and right fielder. He could pitch, and he did for a hot second, but it did not last long.
He was good. He wasn't Ohtani level pitching.
No, but it didn't last long as well.
Nah.
So Ohtani has, back in the 2016 season when he wasn't injured, had a better strikeout rate than Kershaw and a better home run rate than Harper. In what Harper was considered an MVP season.
Right, this is the Japanese league, so it's roughly...
I hear you, but...
I'd say it's roughly AAA, maybe a step above. It's like sort of in purgatory there. Good. But not the major leagues.
It's not the major leagues, so you wonder what kind of effect he will actually have. But the fact that he does have that potential and talent on both sides is amazing.
I think he's better. He wants to play in a small market West Coast team because obviously West Coast to Japan is a shorter flight than New York, obviously.
Of course.
So my line of thinking is if you want the longest career possible, if you're Shohei Ohtani and you're thinking ahead, you don't want to play the field and pitch. You want to DH and pitch, right?
That's what I'm thinking as well.
Because the last thing he needs is playing center field or whatever position. He's probably center field or something in the majors or right field. And he starts playing that and his body wears down. He gets hurt. He pulls a hammy out there.
Does he hit when he pitches? If he's in the American League, does he hit when he pitches?
You'd think so. Yeah, that's what he's used to.
Right.
Well,
that's Bumgarner did that past year when Bochy and the Giants went to Oakland.
And he had a double.
Bumgarner pitched and they didn't use the DH. He was their 7-hitter.
And he had a double.
I couldn't believe that.
Yeah. No, but if I'm Ohtani, I want to go into an American League team like Seattle. And DH, I'd say 2 days, pitch the other day, and then rest 2 days.
It's funny you mention Rangers are a AL West team, but they're not exactly on the West Coast because they're in Arlington, Texas.
That's a hike.
But it's funny you mention smaller market West Coast teams. I'm not saying the Angels and the Mariners are exactly small markets.
Seattle more than Los Angeles, probably.
Right.
Yeah.
But the teams are kind of at a standstill of always being at 3rd and 4th and 5th in that division.
Yeah.
It's always Seattle, Angels, Oakland are always the bottom 3 teams in any particular order, with the Rangers and the Astros now holding crowns, right? Yeah. So the Mariners have the most bidding money of all teams.
Okay.
So the Mariners have the most bidding money with $3.557 million, and the Rangers are right behind them at $3.535. And then the Angels are $1 million drop off with $2.3 million. So,
okay.
Again, Arlington, Texas is not West Coast. It's an AL West team.
It's the South.
But it's South Central.
Right.
When the Yankees play in Los Angeles or in Seattle, it's a 10 o'clock game here in New York.
Games.
But when we watch against Arlington, it's an 8 o'clock game.
Usually, yeah.
So, again, probably outside of Ohtani's wheelhouse. So, the Mariners probably look like his best fit. Plus, Iwakuma's there. Ichiro was there.
They just traded for Dee Gordon to make him their center fielder.
Way to jump the gun. We will talk about that in a hot second.
I'm so sorry.
Let's talk about Ohtani for now.
Yeah, no, my bad. The Padres were rumored to be the front runner only because Hideo Nomo and not Takashi Saito. I think Tomo Oka. Yeah, Takashi Saito is in that.
Saito.
Him and Hideo Nomo are basically huge cogs in that front office.
Yep.
And he said he has a very close relationship with them, and it's a really short flight from Japan. I don't think he's going to go there just because they can't offer him much, but he has said money doesn't mean much to him.
Speaking of that, there are 4 teams, all with $300,000 in bidding money. And all 4 of these teams are right behind the Angels. So these are all tied for 4th in terms of most money. Cubs, $300,000. Giants, $300,000. Padres, $300,000. Dodgers, $300,000. They just did a lot of free agent signing over the past 5 years and just have no international money left. So they also, a big part of that was Urias, I believe.
He signed as a free agent when he was like 16.
International money though.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. Like a big portion of that was, I believe, him.
Sure.
Hyunjin Ryu too as well got a good contract. So that's why the Dodgers don't have as much international money. But if money doesn't mean much, and the Dodgers are in the same bidding war as the Padres, again, when you have the flash of LA, and again, he said small market team, but I think that just means West Coast.
I agree. It's a small market West Coast team. I don't think he's a guy who wants the spotlight on him necessarily. He seems like he just wants to do his thing.
See, I think the opposite. So I thought a big part of why he didn't want to go to the Yankees and the Red Sox, and it also seemed to me like he was kind of come out and saying, I don't want to go to the Dodgers. I feel like he does want to be the guy. I feel like he wants to go somewhere where he is immediately that dude. Where if he was on the Dodgers, he wouldn't be the guy. Bellinger's the guy. Kershaw's the guy. The Yankees, they got Judge and Tanaka and Betances, Chapman, and Severino.
Well, if he goes to the Mariners, he wouldn't be that guy either.
They have Cano,
right? Cano's the face of that franchise.
Nelson Cruz, the RBI leader.
And guys, the fans love Felix Hernandez there. He's like a god there.
Right, exactly. So the Padres,
he'd be the guy.
Who's he got to outbeat? Everett Cabrera?
No, he's not on the team anymore.
Who would he be?
Will Myers is probably the best player.
Okay, right. Okay, that makes sense.
Right. But
Giants, Bumgarner and Posey are like the guys.
right. I'm thinking of guys who fans love in those cities. San Diego, it's mostly Will Myers, and that's it, kind of, right now.
He wouldn't go to the Cubs if that was the case because Chris
gonna.
Bryant, Anthony Rizzo, the list goes on.
So, if he wants a good chance to win and DH and sort of stay in a smaller market, Seattle's a good bet because they just got, obviously, Dee Gordon, and, they have a decent core.
Yeah.
And if he goes to San Diego, he probably makes good friends with the front office. It's a good Japanese culture in San Diego.
Yep.
But there wouldn't
Such
be
a rebuilding culture.
They wouldn't be a playoff team with him.
Not for another few years.
I think if he goes to the Angels, they're a playoff contending team. I mean, they were this year, and they traded for Maben and Phillips, and they didn't make it, obviously.
Right. Well, and Trout was injured for that month stretch, so
I'm sorry, yeah, not Maben, Upton and Phillips. They traded away Maben to the Astros, yeah.
Right.
But
so they got Justin Upton, and they also signed him long term.
Yeah.
And they got Brandon Phillips, and if Trout wasn't injured for that month and a half, they could have been right in it. So the Angels are definitely on the rise, and Ohtani being maybe their 3 automatically. I get he's a 1-2 starting talent, but put him in a 3 starter to see how he works, and then maybe Cole Calhoun goes down on the 15-day DL. You got a right fielder and DH who can take his place.
Right, and they can manage his playing time and where he plays, obviously. But I'd say he's the number 3 behind Garrett Richards, probably Tyler Skaggs at this point.
Skaggs impressed me, but
he's good. I like lefty pitchers with nasty sliders.
I get that. But Ohtani could go just about anywhere. I think the West Coast, obviously, it makes more sense in terms of travel arrangements. I think it's going to come down to the Angels, Mariners. Maybe the Padres. Maybe, but I just I don't see it.
Because to him, Mike Trout, he can't relate. Right? Mike Trout's an Americanized superstar. In Japan, they don't really care about Mike Trout. They have their own superstars. Eric Thames.
Ohtani was like the guy the past couple years. Eric Thames had his own theme song.
In Korea, his nickname was God in Korea. Eric Thames was God in Korea. Imagine what Mike Trout could be in Asia.
Hey, Eric Thames had a godly April. Or he had a godly first 2 weeks of April.
And somewhat first week of May, and then he kind of,
Yeah.
He was good, though. He
had an overall decent year.
In Cincinnati, I think he had like 6 home runs. But anyways.
So now we go on to the Marlins as they traded Dee Gordon. And we'll start with Dee Gordon, going to the Mariners with intent to play center field.
They traded for a better Gerard Dyson, way better Gerard Dyson. Dee Gordon will cover probably just as much as Dyson will in center field. He's got great range, obviously. Arm isn't as good. Dyson doesn't have a great arm. He's got a decent arm, but Gordon's probably is a little bit below that. I don't think they care because Guillermo Heredia has a cannon. He plays 2 or 3 days a week there anyway. So, like I said, their arm strength was the last of their, deciding factors. Dee Gordon's going to hit better than Dyson. He'll probably bat lead off for them. He's under team control till at least 2020, 2021. So they have a piece to build around. Good move by them. What did they have to lose? They gave up their number 2, number 7, and I think one other prospect for him. I've always liked Dee Gordon as a player. He comes with baggage. Not a strong guy. Obviously, the
PhD 2 thing was
PhD.
Jesus Christ.
He's a smart guy, apparently.
Apparently, a smart guy. No, HGH. I don't know why I was thinking of that.
It's okay.
I'm tired and stressed. Oh God.
But yeah, no, he does come with baggage, and
the HGH is what
the
I meant by that.
HGH. Yeah. His master's program,
PhD, his bachelor's degree too. Very impressive.
But he'll bat leadoff. Probably, I don't think he'll play second for them. Ever.
Really? You don't say. They got Robbie Cano.
But even when Cano doesn't play, why would they move him back and forth?
I think you're right. I think they move him out to the outfield, and they can move him between like center field and left.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. But I think with him in center and Gamble in left and
Haniger in right.
And Haniger in right with Cruz's DH, Cano's at second, Gene Seguro's at short. So if Cano goes down, then you got Gene Seguro who can go to short, and you got Taylor Motter who can play short, or vice versa. You got those guys as well, keep in mind. And then third base, Kyle Seager. First base,
probably Ryan Healy because they traded.
That's right. They got Ryan Healy. Dude, they're gonna have a good team. Pitching staff still a question.
Always.
Bullpen is still a question. Starting staff is still a question. Can Felix do what CeCe did and learn how to pitch without 95 plus?
Ooh, that's a really good question to talk about. Because both pitchers...
CeCe's not the best pitcher, but wow, he impressed me. To still to maintain a consistent 3.00 ERA, just consistency 5-6 innings of 6 Ks, a run or two, not a lot of walks, got your ground balls, done.
No, it took him like 2 years to reinvent himself too. We watched him pitch when he was struggling. He still thought he was a power pitcher. You know, he'd overthrow his fastball. He'd get visibly upset on the mound. Like he'd reinvented himself. He really matured as a pitcher. He's a pitcher now, to put quotes around it. He's not just a thrower. And he's that backdoor slider. He throw at any count. Like that means a lot.
Plus, the alcohol rehab was part of it as well. He was addicted to painkillers and alcohol and stuff. So went through rehab and he got clean and he's great now. You can tell he's just focused and can Felix. I'm not saying he's got to go through rehab or anything, but can Felix focus himself does he have enough realism in there to not be too proud and say, I don't have 95 plus anymore. I got to make do with 90, 91 in movement and location. Tanaka, that's exactly what he does. 90, 91, movement and location on all his pitches. Most swings and misses since he entered the league of any pitcher.
That splitter's nasty.
I know, but it's not 95 plus. It's not 97 plus.
No, but he can hit 96 with his fastball when he wants to. He's not doing a pitch in, pitch
He's
out.
He's consistent 90 to 92.
0-2, wants to blow it by you, he'll throw 96. He doesn't like to do it, but like you said, he sits 92 usually.
Right, exactly.
Which is fine, you know. If you dot, then you can throw whatever you want.
If you dot, you can...
If you hit the corners, you can throw whatever speed you want.
Exactly.
Kyle Hendricks made that known last year. So...
I think you got to throw higher than 83. I'm talking to you, Kyle Hendricks and Jared Weaver.
Well, Jared Weaver, he retired for a reason.
And Bronson Arroyo.
Yeah.
But that's an interesting take on Dee Gordon. And can their pitching staff improve if they also get Ohtani too? That would be incredible.
Yeah.
So the Mariners, especially if Ohtani goes there, look out. If he doesn't go there, don't have to look out as much, in my opinion, but still look out.
Their
Something to keep in
bullpen,
mind.
outside of Edwin Diaz, still is eh. Nick Vinson's okay. He's probably like a decent seventh inning guy. But them trading away Emilio Pagan, who I really liked, for Ryan Healy, good on Oakland for getting a really good seventh, eighth.
But they did not
Pagan's really good.
Seattle did not have a first baseman.
No, you're right. Danny Valencia wouldn't have cut it for another year. You need a guy like Ryan Healy.
Absolutely right.
Sort of think he's going to improve.
So now we move on to a huge topic, Giancarlo Stanton.
Literally.
Probably the biggest offseason topic. Literally huge topic. Not as big as Aaron Judge, but still big. Speaking of which, those two could be together. Giancarlo Stanton opened his no-trade clause to include the Astros, Cubs, Yankees, and if I'm missing another team, Dodgers.
Who?
He opened his no-trade clause to Cubs, Astros, Dodgers, Yankees.
Cubs, Astros, Dodgers, Yankees.
So basically teams that are perennial contenders. I think he's just sitting tired. Like, yeah, if anyone wants to take his contract and pay him money, like, I'm sure he'll go there. But he's looking at those teams and saying, I want to go here because I want to play with Aaron Judge, or I want to play with Cody Bellinger, or I want to play with Correa and Altuve, or I want to play with Chris Bryant. And he wants to mash in a World Series contending lineup. I think he's sick and tired of being in the basement with Miami.
I don't think it's who he plays that really matters to him. I think it's just playing in October that matters to him.
Of course, right.
I think that's the number one thing.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, he didn't waive his no trade clause to go to the Padres, right, or the Pirates, right? So I mean,
exactly.
There's a reason those teams are on there. As far as what he could fetch in a trade, the Yankees probably have the best prospects to throw in and do a trade.
Would you?
No.
As a Yankee fan, do this?
No.
I also would not. Here's why. Bryce Harper's a free agent at the end of the year, and so is Manny Machado. And this is what we've been saving up for.
Right.
We have Gleyber Torres. We have Billy McKinney. We have, you know who I love is Florial. Love him.
He's
great.
Raw.
And Andujar, too. Both those guys. I want these guys to groom, because that's what created the dynasty in the 90s and early 2000s, was everyone grooming in the farm system and staying there.
It is
with a couple of free agent pickups.
Right, and it's very hard to make a contender out of free agent signings and trades, purely. You need at least 4 or 5 guys, everyday guys, plus 2 or 3 pitchers that are homegrown. Because you can't just buy your way to a World Series.
Maybe Jeter's still a Yankee, and it'll be Giancarlo Stanton for Billy McKinney, straight up.
Yeah, right.
Jeter cares about the Yankees.
Slip a little pill in that drink before he offers the trade. Yeah, hey, Billy McKinney, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, whatever. I just need to sleep.
Jeter just said, I'm new to this, but yeah, sounds good.
Well, he's the way him and the Marlins.
He's very new to this.
Yeah, he's done some things with the Marlins organization that hasn't looked too good.
Don't worry, he's still a Hall of Fame player.
Right. We'll leave it at that. But no, in all seriousness, I haven't really sat down and sort of thought up a trade proposal, but
Nor have I.
It would take 3 or 4 top prospects plus a guy like Brian Mitchell, a few other major league ready pitchers, I'd imagine. It won't just be like Frazier and Sheffield call it a deal. No, absolutely not. It's tough. I don't want him to do it.
I'm thinking of a scenario in my head and asking you if you want to do it. Okay, what if it was, 3 top prospects and Chad Green?
Oh, my God.
Would you do it, Kenneth?
Oh, my God.
Can I just answer for you and everyone else? Because you're just going to say no.
Right.
You love Chad Green.
I love Chad Green.
I love him as well. He was probably our best overall reliever throughout the whole year, and there's something to be said about a guy that can pitch the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning and extra innings more than 1 inning at a time and just mow people down consistently without really a bad outing all year. Maybe one. I can't think about it.
His bad outing was like a solo home run in 2 2/3 innings. That's a bad outing for him.
Right.
I'll take that. God. You come in a 3-run game, you give up a solo shot and strike out the other 6, 7 guys. Okay, that works. You're good.
I'm excited for the Stanton sweepstakes, and I'm excited to see what's gonna happen. It's really interesting to think about because with the Ohtani sweepstakes, he came out and said money doesn't matter. He just wants to be on the West Coast. Well, Stanton, I think, also is kind of the same way in terms of money doesn't matter because he's still getting paid.
He's going to get paid.
He's still getting his contract. It's just a matter of the nuances of who's going to pay it. Is it the Marlins or is it going to be split among the Marlins and wherever he goes or whatever? Also, Stanton's different. It's not that he wants to like go somewhere specifically. He just wants to go somewhere where, as you said, he can play in October. So
that's his main concern.
I just hope it's not the Red Sox.
It won't be the Red Sox. If the Dodgers do offer for him, I guarantee you 100%. You know who's going to be in that deal? Julio Urias.
Of course.
Right? I mean,
absolutely. He just turned 20, right?
Yeah, he's one of the best trade prospects. He debuted at 19.
Yeah.
So, I mean.
Or he just turned 21.
Yeah. But Urias would be in there. I can't really think off the top of my head right now, but they have a lot of good talent coming up, especially pitching-wise. Whew. So,
Urias and Bellinger. I'm sure that's where they're going to start.
If I'm the Dodgers, I'm no hands off Bellinger.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be like saying, like, oh, you want Stanton in New York? Yeah, we want Judge and or Greg Bird. Like, no.
And Giancarlo's just sitting in his penthouse suite somewhere with both hands raised, doing the Money Manziel sign. Who's going to pay me?
Right,
doing a maniacal laugh because he's gonna, like I say, he's gonna get paid. Money. He doesn't care about the money. He
just wants the ring, which I can't blame him 100%. He spent how many years in Miami? Ever since he was Mike Stanton.
I'd guess he debuted in 2012, 2011?
2011, I want to say.
Yeah,
because he was on the 2013 WBC team for USA.
Yeah,
alongside Willie Bloomquist for some freaking reason.
And Alex Wilson.
Yeah, that was a great team.
That was an awful.
Oh my God. But he was there, and that was when he was Mike Stanton. And that was in 2013. I want to say he's been around the league for 2 years prior to that. So yeah, 2011 sounds right.
Wait, 2013 was Jimmy Rollins the shortstop?
That was 2009.
That's
2009
okay.
Was Jimmy Rollins, Euclid, Jeter, Pedroia, Roy Oswalt. Yeah.
Okay.
So that was that team. That was 4 years
Jimmy
prior.
Rollins. I mean, 09 was great, but like.
Yeah, no, I saw that team play, and we edged out Canada 5-3.
Yeah.
When they had Mauer and Votto.
Yeah.
And
Michael Saunders.
Or sorry, Morneau and Votto.
Michael Saunders.
Yep.
When he was good.
Yeah.
Decent.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, anyways, Giancarlo. He's going to have to get traded. If the Marlins hold on to him after trading Dee Gordon, it's stupid. They're just wasting talent right now. So. And
it's funny because it's like, oh, what's the best fit? I don't know. Like, I'm sure any team will just fit him right in there. If he keeps his mechanical adjustments when you break it down, because he was able to close his hips and cover more of the plate at the same time, which I don't even know how it's possible, but for him it is. And if he turns into a 280 with 50+ home runs, I'm sure he'll fit anywhere.
280 is maybe a bit high, but
260.
250, 260, yeah.
260 with 48+ home runs.
Remember 2 years ago, he went through a nasty slump. It was 0 for 26 with like 19 strike. It was bad.
Yeah, it was Aaron Judge-esque.
It was like he went up there and he had no clue what he was doing. He was just lost. And trust me when I say, it is the worst feeling in the world when you go up there and you have no idea what's going to happen. You have no confidence in yourself. You don't even know if you're going to put the bat to the ball. I went through that a few times. It's not fun.
It's fun.
I've been through, it's the ups and downs of a baseball player. It's the roller coaster. The balls look like a beach ball to me, and it looks like a pin. Honestly, I can honestly say that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I feel like everyone's gone through that at some point. Doesn't matter what level you're at. Giancarlo Stanton, we'd love for you to come to New York, especially since we missed out on Ohtani, and we have some extra money to blow now after missing out on Ohtani. But hey, I mean, just hopefully he's not too expensive. If he's too expensive, my word of advice to the Yankee front office is don't be afraid to pull the plug on it. You have a great process going now with all this young talent and young controllable players, and Machado and Harper's right around the corner. This is what you've been waiting for. So if Stan wants to come to New York and it's not going to cost you more than three top prospects, fine.
And the Machado Harper sweepstakes is one of the only exceptions I'd make where I'd want Harper over Machado, just because of Yankee Stadium and the instant offense he can bring.
Exactly.
2 games a year that fly out for him and be a home run.
Exactly. And I'm actually just getting word out right now that apparently, according to the Yankees, have already touched base about Machado.
Okay. Trading for him?
I don't know why. He's a free agent at the end of the year.
Why not wait?
Exactly.
Why waste 2 or 3, probably 3 prospects on him, 3 or 4, for a year of him and then re-signing him? That's stupid.
Maybe they think they can trade for him and guarantee getting him now and then extend him. Guaranteeing they get Machado.
Okay, but is it worth giving up 3 or 4 prospects after?
Especially if those names are Torres, Florial, Sheffield,
Frazier,
and Duhar, Frazier.
Whatever.
Any of those.
The top 15.
Right. Any of them.
I wouldn't do that. Because you could just sign him as a free agent.
I agree, 100%.
Right?
Yep.
I wouldn't.
I hope that doesn't happen.
No.
But the Yankees, the front office, they have their work cut out for them the next couple of years. But one headache was recently resolved, and that was who was going to be the manager for the New York Yankees. And now we got Aarone Boone. And if anything else, I don't know how he's going to be. I'm optimistic. But if anything else, we get to see that Aarone Boone home run off Tim Wakefield about 200 to 300 more times this coming summer.
A pregame, let alone, I'm sure they'll bring it up every other game.
I will tune into every Yankee game just to watch that. It is so great. Bottom of the 11th, maybe 12th inning, Aarone Boone's first at-bat of the year. All right?
Can I just be
for first at-bat of the game. Sorry, I don't know why I said year. Aarone Boone's first at-bat of the game, and Tim Wakefield comes in out of the bullpen, and that is a first-pitch knuckleball. It didn't spin, but it didn't move. And he crushed it. One of the best moments of my life as a Yankee fan.
Here's Aarone Boone to lead off. Iconic John Sterling.
Oh, yeah.
Swung on, driven deep to left field.
oh, so iconic. Quick trivia. Who started at third base for that game?
It wasn't Aarone Boone.
It was not Aarone Boone. Because I just said that was his first.
This was 2003?
Mm-hmm.
Scott Brocious.
Nope.
Not Charlie Hayes.
Nope.
2003. That's a good one. That's like one of the in-between years.
I'll give you a hint that might give it away. Me and a buddy of mine, shout out to Nick and Sulaco. Thanks for listening. Me and him have an ongoing joke about fake Yankeeographies. So, they have Yankeeography, Derek Jeter, Yankeeography, Bernie Williams. Now it's like Yankeeography, Pudge Rodriguez.
Zoilo Almonte.
Right.
They're like random guys.
Exactly. So this guy is the original Yankeeography. Me and Nick, if he's listening, the first fake Yankeeography me and him ever came up with was this name. Started at third base for that game. And I've used this name with you many times.
With me?
Yeah.
Oh.
I've made fun of him a lot.
Oh, Lord. I don't know.
Yeah, we're pressed for time. So it's Enrique Wilson started at third base.
See, I think of him as a second baseman.
I think of him as a shortstop.
Both. Middle infield. I don't think of him as a third baseman.
Enrique Wilson started.
Wow.
And then, if my memory is correct, I want to say Ruben Sierra pinch hit for him in like the 8th, 9th, 10th inning or so. And then Aarone Boone came in as a defensive replacement.
Okay. Yeah, I know that's a good question because Enrique Wilson was like primarily a second baseman. Even with the Cubs, he was a second baseman mostly.
That's right.
So, good question.
Nick Johnson was at first.
Oh, Lord.
Yep, Soriano at second.
See, the advanced scouts would love Nick Johnson because he walks a lot, but Lord was he
Grady
bad.
Little managed his game around who's going to get Nick Johnson out. It's his biggest managerial regret of his life is that game. Pedro Martinez came out and on MLB Network and said, I have no clue what Grady Little was doing. Pedro was mowing everyone down. He was working fine. His pitch count was a little high, but it was a Game 7. He was going to be out there for the long haul, and Grady Little tried to do the piece-by-piece, manage the bullpen game just to try to get Nick Johnson out. He was so bad. It was not good.
No, not great, Bob.
But Aaron Boone, hopefully he doesn't do that as a Yankee manager. The big knocks on Girardi were, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Ken, not enough analytics and also not good clubhouse relations with the players. Aaron Boone definitely seems like a player's guy. Definitely seems like he would have no problem interacting with the guys. If he had to learn how to interact with Jessica Mendoza on the air and keep a good rapport with her, I'm sure he'll do just fine in the Yankee clubhouse.
May God bless Aaron Boone for going through that.
So, I'm sure he's fine with analytics. He loves launch angle just as much as anyone.
Yeah, there's a fine line between managing with analytiits and managing with your gut.
I agree,
AJ
100%.
Hinch won the World Series essentially because he used his gut with his pitching staff. He even said that. Brad Peacock pitching basically three innings to shut the door in the World Series.
And Dave Roberts lost the World Series because he used analytics.
Brandon Morrow,
3 days in a row, yep.
Don't even get me started on that.
No, we already spent an entire podcast.
Right,
We can
that's
move
a
on.
guy who blindly looks at a piece of paper, says, "Oh, stats," and puts in Brandon Morrow, even though he's throwing 93, laboring. Don't even get me started.
It's a joke for Yankee fans that we used to call Joe Girardi Binder Joe. So I'm not sure exactly why people are saying he didn't use enough analytics, but apparently Aaron Boone's interview was very impressive. Impressive enough that he won the job over Mullins.
Yeah, and I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, absolutely. He's my manager now, and I'll support him no matter what.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Extended through 3 years already. He's going to be managing through 2020.
If your main focus was interpersonal communication between the players, what better guy who could speak every language on the team without a translator? There's a certain level
Didi?
of devaluation. Well, yeah, but Didi shouldn't serve as the team translator. And I'm talking about like from coach.
Right. No,
Right. And I'm just saying, it devalues the whole need for interpersonal communication if Aaron Boone's walking around the clubhouse with a translator. Hey, hola, just saying all these things. It's like Hensley can just sit you down one-on-one, speak in your native tongue, get you going.
See, I'm not saying Aaron Boone can speak every language like the way that Mullins can, but Aaron Boone has coached and played in Venezuela and he's played in Japan for in terms of just going over international games and stuff like that. He knows how to speak languages, just not to the fluency of what Mullins on San Francisco did. But when I first got this news, it wasn't that I got the news that Aaron Boone was being, and I was talking to you about this, Ken. It wasn't that I was getting the news saying Aaron Boone's definitely the manager. I was getting news reports through Twitter and MLB.com and ESPN and everything like that of San Francisco beat writers saying Mullins is not leaving San Francisco. Which, I mean, I guess it's the same phrase. When I heard that news, I was like, oh, okay, if Mullins isn't leaving San Francisco, that only leaves Aaron Boone.
Yeah, the way they phrased it was...
But it's not that they were saying Aaron Boone is the next manager. They're saying Mullins is not leaving San Francisco.
Because they never said Mullins didn't get it. They just said Boone got it. So they probably were like, hey, Hensley, they probably just didn't...
Look, I'm just happy Eric Weich didn't get it, but we move on.
Yeah. Or Chris Woodward.
Oh, God. We move on.
Yes.
As you were saying, yeah, so Mullins didn't... It's not that Boone got the job. It's that Mullins didn't get the job. Or, yeah, it was really weird how it all kind of came out. The Yankees announced they made a decision, but didn't tell anyone. I had to wait about 20 minutes of refreshing my Twitter feed to see if Olney and Rosenthal were going on about it.
And this is where your intro to logic classes come in for all you pseudo-intellectuals out there.
Of course.
A equals B, but B doesn't always equal A. Boone got the job, Mullins didn't, but Mullins not getting the job doesn't mean he was told he didn't get the job. So, it's sort of like this contrasting, It
was really weird how it all just kind of came about, but Aaron Boone is now the manager.
Right.
That's the final line of it. And we're pulling for you, Aaron, as Yankee fans. We love what you did in 2003 against Tim Wakefield and the Red Sox. That's just so great.
If he doesn't hit that home run, is he even a consideration?
I gotta tell you, probably not.
No.
I really gotta believe that had something to do with it.
Is Luis Cruz a manager candidate now?
No.
Right.
No, he's not.
I mean, he played third base, for a year for us. Like so did Aaron Boone.
If Jason Nix down the line ever becomes a managerial candidate for the Yankees, I'll find another.
Hey,
team.
Jason Nix, Scott Sizemore, is Tony Womack available? Hey,
Tony Womack, he was bad.
He's
God,
right. He's fast, I guess.
Well, we're gonna close out this podcast by going over our Hall of Fame ballot choices. And I also have trivia too after we do the Hall of Fame ballots. But we're gonna start with the Hall of Fame ballots. And as we pull them up for this year, it's going to be some interesting choices. So this is Chipper Jones' first year on the ballot. And this is also the first year on the ballot that all 480-plus votes will be made to the public. John Heyman was made public. Ken Rosenthal, Bob Costas. Those guys are huge, major guys on major networks. They made their votes public. That's fine. They chose to. But now it's a rule. Every single person who votes will have their ballot made public.
Well, good.
Which means if you don't vote for Chipper Jones, you better have a damn good reason.
And didn't 1 year Jock Jones get a right in?
Last year, who was I telling you this? Last year, who got a vote? We were talking about this yesterday. Willie Bloomquist got a vote. Last year or 2 years ago.
I swear Jock Jones got a vote.
Jock Jones got a vote. David Eckstein got a vote 1 year. And these are guys that are, by the way, and I'm not saying Jorge Posada is a Hall of Famer, but I'm saying Jorge Posada should have gotten more than 3.5% on his first ballot.
Oh yeah.
I'm thinking Jorge Posada.
Top five.
I'm thinking Jorge Posada would have gotten at least 15-20%.
Top 5 offensive catcher ever in Major League history.
Right.
How do you not at least get 10%?
Well, there were guys out there that were only at one point when it was Jack Morris's last year on the ballot. There was a man out there who voted only for Jack Morris. That was the same year that Tom Glavine, Greg Maddux, and Frank Thomas all went into the ballot. They didn't get 100% of the votes because some guy said only Jack Morris, that's it.
And this isn't voting for a president. There's a certain ethical and moral standard that holds true to your beliefs. Core values, that keeping your presidential vote private is fine. That's part of your American, citizen duty.
I agree with you.
But this is voting for a Hall of Fame in a business, entertainment business, right?
Yep.
People should know damn well who you're voting for. Because if you treat this as a joke, you might not be voting anymore.
Like last year, Griffey got 99.8% of the vote. 3 people did not vote for him.
That's a joke in itself.
3 people. There were 4, if I remember the exact number, 497 ballots were casted. 494 of them had Griffey's name on it.
And those 3 people were
fired immediately.
I would hope.
I remember Twitter and MLB.com verse and the blogosphere. Everyone was calling for those guys' names and putting their heads on a stake. Right.
They get the guillotine ready. Who didn't vote for Griffey?
Exactly. And that's how it would be for G. I understand if people don't want to vote for Rivera because people who say that saves don't matter and think that ninth inning situations don't matter in close situations, then that's just your dinosaur opinion. But I understand it on some level. If people don't vote for Chipper Jones, don't vote for Jim Tomei. I'm going through the list.
Well, going back to that, there is a case to be made for throwing your best hitter in the highest leverage spot. But what if that highest leverage spot is in the 9th inning? The heart of the order coming up, right?
Terry Francona proved that with Andrew Miller in the 7th inning.
Sure. But there is a certain gall you need to close games. Not everyone can just close.
I agree.
It's the last 3 outs. It's not between the 6th.
Absolutely.
Right? I will forever stand by that.
And the best stat ever created by man. More people have landed on the moon, 12, than people who have scored off Mariano Rivera in his postseason career. 11. So that's probably the best stat of all time.
I can rest easy knowing that. hey, to his wife. Hey, how about that moon stat? Want to read that to me one more time? It's the 20th time you had me read this.
Today.
One more time. Just one more time.
Oh, boy. But going through the Hall of Fame ballot, 3rd year on the ballot, Trevor Hoffman. Last year got 74%. Probably going to be in this year.
What do you need to get in? I forgot.
75.
75, okay.
Vladimir Guerrero, 71.7% last year. Probably going to be in this year.
Vlad, yeah.
I want Edgar Martinez to get in so badly.
From a pure hitting standpoint?
This is his 9th year. So he has this year and next year. And he has 2 more years, technically, this year and next year, to jump almost 20%. Because he's at 58.6 last year. I get he was only a DH. But the dude mashed. Mashed.
As a pure hitter, he's up there. As a pure hitter.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think he'll get it eventually. Maybe his last year. But
Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds, this is their 6th year on the ballot. Both of them, every single year they've been on the ballot, their numbers have increased. And last year, they both got over 50%. Roger Clemens, 54.1. Barry Bonds, 53.8. Now, what I don't understand is how can you vote for one and not the other? And vice versa.
They both cheated.
What I'm saying is, why does one of them have more votes than the other?
Oh, right. Well, if anything, Bonds should have more votes.
I feel like
than
they're a
Clemens.
package deal. I feel like if you're voting for Clemens, you also have to vote for Bonds and vice versa.
And if you had to pick one, you'd vote for Bonds over Clemens.
I agree with that opinion. Even though I pitched Bonds, the amount of talent and hand-eye coordination and the ability to do what he did. He was a 500 guy before the allegations.
Buck Showalter.
He was a Hall of Famer before the allegations. Roger Clemens was also a Hall of Famer before the allegations. And that's a lot of, Chris Russo, the Mad Dog, he's a big advocate for it. He does not condone what they do, but he also says if you were a Hall of Famer before you needed to do all this stuff, then you should be in.
Chris Russo. He's
like,
a little obnoxious, but yeah.
I hear you, but
yeah.
I agree with that point that he makes.
No, I agree.
So Alex Rodriguez in a couple years, he was a Hall of Famer with the Mariners and Rangers before the allegations.
At least he had a strong case. Absolutely. I mean, Barry Bonds was walked intentionally
With the bases loaded by Buck Showalter.
Yep.
Also, that strategy by Showalter worked out.
Yeah.
He was up by 2, intentionally walked Bonds with the bases loaded. He was up 1, and then the next guy got out.
Sometimes it's not a bad thing to put another guy on base or keep the cycle going.
Yep.
Like, here's an example I give to people to say, like, oh, I always want more outs or less guys on base.
Yep.
If it's Mark Reynolds with a runner at second and 1 out, would you walk him to get a force at every base, possible double play, to face Nick Hundley? If I'm managing, yes, I would.
Nick Hundley's not a bad hitter.
He's not Mark Reynolds.
Okay, Mark Reynolds isn't exactly God either.
He's pretty good.
He had a good year. He had this good year.
Okay, fine. Mark Reynolds to...
And he proved a lot of people wrong because a lot of people said, here comes another 230, 200 strikeout season for Mark Reynolds with also 25 home runs. Like, great, whatever.
Core's helped too.
Right.
But no,
for him to do what he did, to bat over 300 a majority of the year and then sink down to about 285 and also hit over 30 home runs and drive in over 90 RBIs, no one saw this coming from Mark Reynolds.
Okay. But my point stands. If Mark Reynolds is up, would you pitch to the inferior hitter after him to get the first every base in the double play?
Yes.
Yes. I don't think it's a question.
Yeah, isn't that baseball 101? Yeah. Isn't that basically?
Yeah, well, some people want just less runners on base, but...
Who? Sabermetric people
Right.
who have never watched a game before? They
Right.
only, other than what's on a computer screen?
Who manage games based on, stats.
Brian Kenny.
Yeah. God,
So we go through the Hall of Fame ballot, and I get that numbers matter, but... And maybe this is like an old way of thinking, but I just think that the numbers that matter, batting average, on base, slugging, home runs, RBIs, games played, amount of teams played with. I think they all matter.
Sure.
But I also think that the eye test can tell you more than anything.
Sure.
Here's the thing is, but here's a unique case of numbers and eye test combining for what I think should be a Hall of Famer. Mike Mussina last year got 51.8%. Some people will tell you with the eye test, he should not be a Hall of Famer. Me as a Yankee fan and a lot of Orioles fans that I know out there will tell you Mike Mussina should be a Hall of Famer. His numbers are comparable to Jim Palmer when it comes to strikeouts per 9, walks per 9, and WHIP and ERA on average. His numbers are directly comparable to Jim Palmer.
Jim Palmer's a Hall of Fame pitcher.
He's a Hall of Fame pitcher.
Yeah, he'd easily make the case. I mean, Mussina didn't have the flash that Jim Palmer had, sort of like the wherewithal. I say that, I mean, like, more appealing, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, Jim Palmer, ooh, yeah, like Mike Mussina, like, yeah. Like, Mussina's more of a finesse, paint the corners pitcher.
I hear you.
Palmer...
But he did it for almost 20 years.
Yeah, I agree. Orioles and Yankees.
That's right.
But...
So now let's go through the guys who have their first year on the ballot. By the way, Sammy Sosa last year, this is his 6th year, and Sammy Sosa got 8.6% last year, somehow. I don't know how. But he did. All right, Chipper Jones, first year on the ballot. Jim Thome, first year. All these guys are first year from now on.
I think
Scott Rowland, Andrew Jones, Johan Santana, Johnny Damon, Carlos Zambrano in the Hall of Fame of fighting, Jamie Moyer, Omar Vizquel, Chris Carpenter, Levon Hernandez. Now you start getting into the Orlando Hudsons, Kevin Millwood, Kerry Wood. Kerry Wood, interesting. Jason Isringhausen, no. Brad Lidge, no. Matsui, no. Aubrey Huff, Carlos Lee.
Aubrey Huff. No.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, if Aubrey Huff gets a vote,
it's platoon first baseman.
Then I would love for that guy to be fired.
Yeah.
Anyway, Omar Vizquel is an interesting case for me because I would tell you he's a Hall of Famer. I know he played for a lot of teams, but
I think
there has never been and never will be a defensive shortstop like him.
Agreed. And I think people know him mostly for being on the Indians. Him and Roberto Alomar.
Yeah,
best
absolutely.
best double play combination ever. Would you say?
Yeah.
You say that with
Because Trammell and Whitaker was like with the Tigers was a great one.
Fozzie Whitaker?
No.
I'm kidding.
No, come on.
I'm kidding.
But dude, that was you can't get more filthy than that with those two up the middle, Vizquel and Alomar.
Flat in terms of flash.
Right.
Yeah.
But I get his offense might not carry the weight, but I think he would be on my ballot. I think he'll make enough votes to at least be on the ballot next year. So I don't know. Here's mine: Hoffman, Guerrero, Edgar, Clemens, Bonds, Mussina. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Which leaves me with crap. This leaves me with Jones and Tomei. I can't vote for. I hope that enough people vote for Vizquel, because if I could vote for 9 people, it would be Vizquel, and then that would be the end of my ballot. I don't think Scott Rowland gets in. I'm not voting for Kurt Schilling or Manny Ramirez. Fred McGriff, I love him, but he's not getting in. Larry Walker was an interesting one because he's like right in the heart of the steroid era, but again, his numbers are just flat out insane.
You can make the case he's the best Canadian baseball player ever.
Oh yeah,
You can make the case.
Oh my God, but he also played in Coors Field most of his life.
Right.
Most of his career, I should say.
You wouldn't vote for Chipper Jones?
No, I did.
You
Chipper
said
Jones and Jim Tomei were 7 and 8
okay,
on my.
gotcha.
Like I was going through the list. I would fill it. You can vote up to 8 guys, and I would fill out my ballot. And mine would be Hoffman, Guerrero, Martinez, Clemens, Bonds, Mussina, Jones, Tomei.
Okay. You wouldn't vote for Manny?
I would not vote for Manny.
Why?
Well, he was part of the steroid era, and also he got suspended twice.
He did.
For 2 different types of PEDs, and one of them was like an 81-game suspension. Yeah, I don't know. It just seemed like at the end of Manny Ramirez's career. By the way, I apologize for going over 47 minutes, but this is
our last podcast.
It's our last podcast, so you're gonna listen to us and like it.
And you are gonna like it.
I think the end of his career, just for lack of a better term, was a joke.
White Sox and Dodgers, correct? At the end?
Yeah, and I mean,
White
like
Sox.
Manny Wood, just the whole
White
thing.
Sox. DH.
Right.
Ugh.
The end, like that's what I'm saying. Like the end of his career, I get you can't judge a guy for that, but when he was on the Indians and the Red Sox, yeah, great hitter. But I mean, you know how much of that was helped, and I think Fenway. Unpopular opinion, I think Fenway is. You can skew right-handed hitters in Fenway just as much as you can skew any numbers in Coors Field. If you're a right-handed hitter in Fenway, and you can hit doubles and singles and home runs off the monster just by barreling up the ball just right. If I can hit a home run out of Fenway just by barreling it up and getting it up in the air high enough, then, it's the same as anyone in Coors Field. And I think those numbers should be skewed a little bit.
Sure, I think Coors...
Lefty, totally different. David Ortiz and Ted Williams and all those guys in Fenway, totally different because you see how huge right field and right center is.
Yeah, but that little loop in right center field is... Well, not right center, but like right field. That's hard to play. That's a triple, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like if anyone with decent wheels hits it.
Right, exactly. But I'm just saying, if you're a righty hitter in Fenway, I think those numbers are skewed.
Sure. I wouldn't say it's to the level of Coors, but I do think there's a certain level of... Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'd agree with that, yeah.
So that's my take on it. So if you had to go through this list, Ken, and you had to stop at 8 guys, I'll let you take a hot second.
If I had to stop at 8 guys...
If you fill out your ballot, so not everyone fills out their ballot of 8 guys.
Johan Santana's prime, people forget, was pretty good. It was Koufax level.
No, it was not.
It was,
it was not Koufax level.
Okay, it was pretty close though.
It was good.
It was pretty close.
One of the best lefty pitchers of our generation. Our generation also had Johan and CeCe in his prime, and we've had Randy Johnson was I would consider part of our generation.
Yeah.
So we've had a lot of good lefty pitchers back in the day, but
I would go 8, obviously, right?
Yeah.
I'd go Hoffman, Guerrero, Clemens, Jones, Tomei. Hoffman, Guerrero, Clemens, Jones, Tomei.
Yeah, 3 more.
Johan, Larry Walker, and Edgar Martinez.
So you're keeping Bonds off and putting Clemens on.
Yes.
Didn't you just say if you had to vote for one of them, you had to vote for Bonds?
Yes,
But
but to the magnitude that PEDs helped them in their career, Clemens less so than Bonds.
Okay.
Bonds was a completely different player after the Pirates. He was jacked after the Pirates.
No, he literally, I think he had to get his driver's license redone because the picture, a lot of people thought that he had a fake ID. So,
Personally,
because he literally looked different.
I'm just going by realistically who I think will get in. Personally, I'd vote Bonds over Clemens.
Okay.
Or both of them.
Okay.
But
The trend seems
Clemens-
to be towards Clemens because, like you said, the
I
PEDs did
think-
affect him less.
I think.
Okay.
Right, because he was a pretty big guy post Boston most of his career in Toronto.
Yeah.
That was just pretty,
Most Cy Youngs ever won. So
Yeah.
some,
So-
300 wins, 3,000
So,
strikeouts.
so I think you can make that case.
Absolutely.
My heart would say Bonds and Clemens.
Mm-hmm.
Realistically, I think Clemens, not Bonds, just because of the magnitude of how PEDs affected them.
I love watching the Hall of Fame induction show. I look forward to it every year, as I do the first week of January. Can't wait for that to happen.
Yeah.
So it seems like so long away, but it's actually not. So I leave this podcast and you, Ken, and all of our listeners with some nice little. I don't know. I still don't know a good name for it because Tim Kirkagen has Tim Quirkagen. That's just a beautiful name. I have what is it? Austin's abnormal stats.
Anomalies.
Austin's abnormal anomalies.
I don't know.
The AAA.
Yeah.
This is the final Austin's abnormal anomaly.
And you always get me with these trivia questions when I'm like half asleep.
It's not. Yeah, it's not trivia. This is just. I just merely want to point this out there.
Okay.
If you want to play along, go ahead.
Okay.
Most career home runs by batting order position among active players in 2017.
Wait, I'm confused. So only 2017? Or
No.
career?
So career active players who are active, and their career home runs based on the batting
The
order
order that-
1 through 9.
would
So let's put it this way. I'll start off with Ian Kinsler.
Okay.
Ian Kinsler has the most home runs of any active player in the number 1 spot in the lineup with 173.
okay. This is actually a good one. I like this.
Yeah. So the most active career home runs in the number 2 position in the batting order, 101 home runs, goes to Josh Donaldson.
Okay.
Yeah. He has not been around long either.
No.
I also have most in a career, Hall of Famers.
Okay.
So I also have most in a career to give perspective.
Cool.
Albert Pujols has the 3 spot.
Makes sense.
With just under 500. He has 498 home runs in the 3 spot.
Okay.
Care to wager who has the 4 spot with 204 home runs in his career in the 4 spot?
I'm thinking,
Third baseman.
third base. Longoria.
Nope.
Good guess.
I mean, it's a decent guess, but no, this guy has been around significantly longer than Longoria.
Beltre.
It is Adrian Beltre.
Yeah, okay. It was either him or Longoria, I mean.
In the 5 spot, right fielder, Reds and Mets.
Reds and Mets, Jay Bruce?
Yep.
Okay.
So there's that. He has 124. I'm just pulling up the number. He has 124 in the 5th spot. This one surprised me. The 6th spot in a career.
Mark Reynolds.
Active. Nope. He has the 7th spot.
Dang, I was one off.
He has the 7th spot. Mark Reynolds has the most home runs of active players in the 7th spot with 66 home runs. Pedro Alvarez has 72 home runs in the 6th spot.
Pedro with the Pirates for like 3 years.
Yeah. He had a really good couple of years there.
Yeah, and now he's so bad now.
The most career out of the 8th spot among active players is Mike Napoli with 56. 56 home run out of the 8th spot. Which is funny because he was also like a 5 and 6 hole hitter for a little while, right?
I think his first stint in Texas, he hit 8. Right? Playing first? Or catching? Right?
I don't know.
That's-
Back when Texas in the 2010-2011 World Series years, yes, he was at
think.
the bottom of the order.
You'd
But
have-
when he was with Boston,
No,
and
he
with,
was-
and with when he was with Boston and the Indians, he was right in the middle.
Right, that's what I'm saying, yeah, because there's
Yeah.
no way he'd be batting 8th with the Red Sox.
No, that's right. So, Cliff Pennington
Oh,
has the 9 spot.
who would get that?
Exactly.
Like, unless you're like a diehard.
25 home runs. 25 home runs out of the 9 spot is the most among active players.
Because of those 2.5 years he had with the A's where he actually hit, where he actually hit. Yeah.
Cliff Pennington.
Cliff Pennington.
Caught a foul ball from him in Yankee Stadium. Well,
Really?
well, he dribbled one. He was batting right-handed, and he dribbled one between his legs. He was like really late or like really fooled by a slider. Dribbled one between his legs to the on-deck circle, and Ryan Goins was in the on-deck circle and threw me the foul ball.
So you were on the first base side.
Yep.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, it was nice.
So obviously he was on the Blue Jays then.
Yep,
Nice.
that was way back when.
Yeah.
So most career home runs by batting order position for career. You can play along if you want. Who has the most career home runs out of the leadoff spot?
Ricky Henderson.
Ricky Henderson, 293.
Oh, let's go.
I would be really shocked if you didn't get that one.
That's
Kenneth.
true, yeah.
293 home runs. You're probably not going to get this one. Second hole hitter, the 2-hole hitter. 186 home runs out of that spot, most in a career. Ryan Sandberg. And if Josh Donaldson keeps batting second for the Blue Jays, I'd like to think he'll break that record no problem in the next couple years.
More than likely. Can I guess number 3?
553 home runs out of 3 spot.
Oh, it's not Griffey then.
It's not Griffey.
No, because he is. Yeah.
Is that who you were going to guess?
Yeah.
Huh.
Well, until you said 553.
Yeah.
Mel Ott?
Nope.
Frank Robinson.
Dude, third most home runs ever.
Oh. Okay, well, it's Babe Ruth.
Yes.
Okay.
It took a little longer than I liked.
I was like Bonzera and Ruth.
Yeah. All right, so number 4 spot.
Not Griffey.
Not Griffey. 383 home runs in the cleanup spot.
383.
Yep.
I'm going to say, not Vlad, Manny. David Ortiz. No, he's got me one more than that.
Babe Ruth's the 3 spot, which means the 4 spot is Murderer's Row.
I don't know.
Murderer's Row, 1927 Yankees. Babe Ruth, and the 4 spot was?
Oh, Gehrig.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good job, Kenneth. 383 home runs out of the 4 spot for Lou Gehrig. The 5 spot hit with 203 home runs. One of the best power hitters for the Red Sox ever.
203?
Yep.
Yastrzemski?
No. Two of the best pure hitters ever for the Red Sox. Ted Williams were Ted Williams and Carl Yastrzemski.
Yeah.
But the most powerful hitter, arguably, with just the most muscle in Red Sox history, out of the 5 spot,
Ooh, I'm not sure.
is Jimmy Fox.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good one. 203?
Huh?
Oh, this is by
out of the 5 spot.
Oh, this is throwing me off because I keep thinking career home runs.
No, it's out of the 5 spot.
Because you said Murderer's Row, and I'm like, wait, Lou Gehrig had way more than that. Like
exactly, but he did it out of the 4 spot. Him and Ruth were sometimes 3-4.
Okay.
Yeah, no. So,
okay.
Do you want to start over?
No. Don't start over. I was misconstruing.
So that's why you were thinking Ken Griffey,
right?
No.
Yeah. Okay. I get it now. It's
about time. Did you get it when I did active players or what?
No, I got the active ones. But then you said career out of that batting order.
Out of that batting order.
Just that batting. Okay.
Right. It's just that spot in the order.
Gotcha.
So Ruth has 553 home runs out of the 3 spot. Right. He has 200 more out of the 4 spot.
But when you said that, I'm thinking, well, Ruth is 714.
Right. Exactly. No. Okay. So 6. This one. These names you definitely won't get. I'm just going to say them. The trivia part's kind of over. Okay, who had 143 home runs out of the 6 spot, and that's the most ever out of the 6 spot.
What team?
He was on the Yankees.
This was like the 40s.
No, this was the 90s.
The 6 spot.
Yep. I only remember him on the Yankees.
Not Tino, obviously. Though.
No, he was a third baseman. It's not Brocious.
It's not Enrique Wilson.
No, it's not Enrique Wilson. It's Greg Nettles.
Okay, cool.
This one surprised me. The 7th spot, most career home runs out of the 7th spot. Javi Lopez with 84 home runs. That's the most ever out of the 7th spot.
With Atlanta mostly.
Right.
Yeah.
Mark Reynolds is 66.
Nice.
Maybe. He needs 18 more.
I like it. I don't think he bats 7th for Colorado.
No, he doesn't. He bats like 5th. Del Crandall, never heard of that name before ever. 109 home runs out of the 8th spot, and Rick Dempsey and Mike Bordick are tied out of the 9th spot. Don't say him like you knew that name.
He was a catcher for the Diamondbacks.
Good for you. 42.
What do you mean? I know all the obscure players. Don't test my knowledge.
Good for you. But you couldn't get Babe Ruth or Lou Gehrig.
I know obscure players. Mike Bordick was a right-handed hitting catcher for the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Good job.
Backed up for like 6 years.
Good job, Ken.
And now he broadcasts.
Yeah, he had 42 home runs out of the 9th spot, and that's tied for the most career out of the 9th spot.
If it's people nobody care about, I care. God.
Oh boy. Well, yeah, we're well over 47 minutes. Yeah. I don't want to say goodbye, but we're gonna have to say goodbye.
Okay. Do we have any sappy music to play?
No, we don't have any sappy music. But this idea just started merely because we just wanted to talk about. Me and you had a lot of baseball conversations that just way too much to talk over in text and talk. And we're like, all right, cool. When we're back at college, because we went on some rants over the summer. Like, dude, when we're back at college, even if no one listens and no one cares, let's just talk for an hour or so about baseball. I'm like, all right, sweet, let's do it.
So I don't care if nobody cares.
It's fun. It's fun. It was fun being part of a weekly routine, and thank you for all of our friends and family who are listening to us and telling us to just keep on going. Even though I graduate and Ken's still here at Brockport for a little bit, but life goes on.
Life goes on.
It's unfortunate.
You'll be back for wiffle ball if you're not in New Jersey. So.
Oh my God. God, yes, we will. And also, I know he listens and he likes to help out with suggestions for the podcast. So, Nick Insulaco, if you're listening, you missed a heck of a wiffle ball tournament. You should have been there. Screw work.
And Tyler, thanks for listening while you're doing math homework. Appreciate it.
While you're doing math homework, appreciate it. So yeah, signing off for probably the last time. I'm Austin Speaker.
And I'm Kenny Stables.
Gonna miss you, bud.
I'm gonna miss you too.
All right. Thanks for listening, everyone.